Okay, this is me. I am Shannon.Holland, and I am the Community Engagement Coordinator, and I'm with Home Instead Senior Care. I am primarily responsible for services in Davidson and Davie County. This is a selfie that I took of myself a few years back. It amused me, and it became my headshot. I take life very seriously, as well as I also try to not take things too seriously. So I stuck with it. If you have seen a presentation from me before, you have probably seen this picture. I was with International Paper for 20 years. Being with Home Instead is actually my second career and my favorite career. And interestingly enough, this morning as I was thinking about this presentation, the primary reason that my career with International Paper ended was due to the digital and the electronic world that we were entering in at that time. This happens to be my favorite career, so when that door closed, I didn't know that I was going to walk right into something that I truly and genuinely enjoy and sharing with others. So I've been with Home Instead Senior Care for 3 years. If you have met me before, I have a large personality. At the end of the presentation, you may discover that I have a large personality. And that becomes clear when you learn that my dad is from Camden, New Jersey, and my mother is from Harmony, North Carolina. So if you put those two things together, this is what you get. So I have 2 pet ducks and a parrot named Larry. I did not mean to live the bird life. Life handed me the bird life, so I'm going with it. And I have been married for 27 years. And I have 2 girls, and my pastimes are girls fast pitch softball, duck watching, and I really just enjoy piddling around. So as described for the presentation today, we are talking about changing the face of aging in the digital world. And we are going to look at some of the home-based technologies that are sweeping the medical field. So this presentation is not intended to endorse any of the products that we're going to talk about. It is simply a 30,000-foot view. At the end, I will spend a few minutes on what Home Instead is doing to adapt to the virtual world as well. Now, Allison and Adam, keep in mind I cannot see the chat box. I think, Allison, you're going to alert me if there's any reason I need to stop, okay? So let's start off with this video. This is an older couple that just got a new computer and with a new app on it, and they wanted to wish their family member a happy birthday and to send them a picture of it. And so this is approximately 1 minute, so you can see probably some of the same frustrations that we have all had as we try to adapt in this virtual world.
I don't hear it clicking, do you? Do you hear it clicking? No. Then there's something wrong. We're doing something wrong. Here it is. Oh, we gotta wait. Here. 16, 15, 14, 13. Here, get closer. Did you hear it click? Did you hear it click? No. Huh? I don't know. Oh, now, did you hear it click now? No. Hey, Frank. All right, I gotta practice. I wait a minute, Frank. There's something wrong. It's going on. It has another. Wait a minute, here.
So what they ended up doing is videotaping themselves and sending the videotape to their family of themselves trying to take a picture to send to their family. So I feel like we can all relate to that situation. And we are all in this together, but we can do it because this is our new normal. And there are a lot of frustrating factors in dealing with the virtual world and digital technologies, but there's so many positives as well. Social engagement, intellectual stimulation, vocational wellness, and safety. And we're going to hit on all of these topics this morning. Facetiming and Skyping. And when I made this presentation, it was pre-Zoom. So I really need to add Zoom to this as well because it's so prevalent now. Staying connected with your family, controlling stress, fun, using your mind, learning something new. On my phone alone, I have access to a camera, just one device. I have access to my camera. I have access to games, a flashlight, a calculator, music, weather, a dictionary, and the internet. Really, I have access to the world. And a side note here is if you are trying to figure out how to use some of these devices and such, if there is anybody nearby that is the age of 14 to 24, they probably can tell you how to figure out what you're trying to do. Our children are being born learning this new world. So just about everything is online or electronic. Pinterest, and I'll show you an example of that. You can have access to your news, the census, the 2020 census, which I hope everybody filled out because it's so important, but your census, they were asking you to fill out online. My husband gets frustrated because he doesn't understand why our children who are 16 and 21 do not watch television and are not interested in his cable. Interested in his cable. But everything that they watch is on their phones or on their computer, such as a Netflix or an Amazon Prime. Your healthcare records are online, your appointment reminders. I get reminders from my dentist's office on my phone through a text or my doctor's office. Prescription notifications being ready. Everything is that direction. And on the fun side of that, picture sharing is a great way to socially engage. If my parents want to communicate with their grandchildren, even me, if I want to talk to my children and I call them on the phone, they will not answer. But if I text them or if I send them a Snapchat, I can get an immediate response. So it's really a way that we can continue the communications. If you need access to information, you have to go to a website to get it or to fill out a form. Your senior center is that way. The government sites are that way. The list is really endless. So by definition, digital health and wellness is refers to your physical and your psychosocial well-being in a technical world. So what we would like to capture at the end, perhaps, is virtual health has become more prevalent now since what's happening in the current world. But for example, My Wake Health, through their digital health and wellness, you can send a message to your doctor, manage your appointments, your prescription renewals, pay your bills, view your test results, etc. But for today's presentation, I'm going to show you some examples of some areas that you can play around with that might help you with your caregiving duties or for your own personal well-being. So I've got a link here, and this link right here takes you to an application called Instagram. So Instagram, for social as well as educational purposes. Pardon me just a second while I adjust some screens here. So Instagram is a way that you can connect with people socially, but you can also search stuff that interests you. So for example, I have an application because I like the creative side of things, and I can search Canva, which appeals to me there. But let's say you want to connect, this is my Instagram. Don't judge. It's the Real Duck Lady. This is Ralph. So I can do posts with my families and friends so that they can see these sorts of things. But I'm interested in Crested Butte, Colorado. So I can hashtag, which is the $, Crested Butte. And now I can go on and I can see all sorts of things that interest me about this particular part of our country. So also my interest, I told y'all I am the plant lady. So I hashtag plant lady, and look, there's all sorts of other plant ladies in this world. So now I can go in and I can communicate with them or see what they're posting that what might interest me. So taking you back, Pinterest is another one, and Allison and I were talking about this one. Oops. Allison and I were talking about this one before everybody got on. My folks enjoy Pinterest. I enjoy Pinterest, and even my children enjoy Pinterest. So there's a variety of age groups that these sorts of things appeal to. So on Pinterest, we've got cute dogs that you can look at. But let's say that I have some Brussels sprouts, my very favorite, that I want to cook for dinner, but I don't have any ideas on how to cook it. So I can go in and I can search Brussels sprout recipes, and all sorts of Brussels sprout recipes pop up. As it relates a little bit more to understanding the aging process and caregiving, I can search dementia. And there is a world of information that can pop up that tells you what dementia means. Are there essential oils that help for dementia? What are the stages of dementia? Again, the list is endless. A lot of people think that Pinterest is just for arts and crafters, but it is also for all sorts of other informations. My dad, he likes the gourd life, and he does gourd art. So I have showed him how he can get on Pinterest and he can search gourds so that he can get ideas or associate in this area. So Caregiver Stress and Coping, this website right here is called caregiverstress.com. And you can go to this website and we're going to search senior care options. And one in particular that I like on here is understanding senior care options. And there's a senior care spectrum on here that helps families understand what each term or area means, what the costs are. So here's a retirement community or village. What does that mean? Independent living, what does that mean? Adult daycare. There is not an adult daycare in Davie County, but there is one in Davidson County, and it's a super facility. What does that mean, adult daycare? And I just had a telephone call yesterday where the person I was speaking to didn't understand the differences between home health care and just home care. And they are two very different, I'm at a loss for words here, but they're two very different things. These are the sorts of things that you could find on here. So anytime that you are online or dealing with the digital world, you must keep in mind that there are other folks online and in the digital world, and they are trying to scam you. So here is a link to the Federal Trade Commission that you can go on and you can search what the current scams are. And if you can see me scrolling here, just look at the list of topics of different scams that are out there. And I try to consider myself ahead of the game on some of these scams, that I'm good and street smart, but I have recently been a victim of one of these scams myself. So I would suggest that you always be aware that somebody is could potentially be trying to scam you. I apologize about my transitions. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little anxious and nervous. Okay, Amazon Alexa saves a Florida elderly man from crime. This was from Fox Business News back in December of 2019. Now, I have an Amazon Alexa, and all I can get mine to do is play music. I know it does other stuff. I just haven't been figured out how to do that. But apparently, this Alexa is also a crime fighter. But listen to the way this worked. So a Florida man was busted for burglarizing an elderly man's room at an assisted living facility. And that is because this Amazon Alexa notified his loved ones of the intruder. So the elderly man's daughter, she lived in Alaska. The other daughter actually lived near the facility. And they had some sort of feature on this Alexa device that alerted the daughter in Alaska that something was going on in their dad's room. So the sister was able to contact the local sister, who contacted the facility, and they were able to confront the person that was still in the victim's room. And all of this was done electronically or virtually by this notification. So that leads us to talking a little bit about security cameras. Now, with security cameras, you can install them in a family member's home, somebody that has Alzheimer's or mobility issues, and you can even have security cameras that have a two-way audio so that you can listen as well as visually see what's going on. There are what they call nanny cameras that a spouse could use or a family could use for older parents or grandparents to keep an eye on a caregiver that might be in the home or in a nursing home, which is the situation we are here. And sometimes people, they're just perhaps a retiree or living alone, and that simple monitoring system would give them peace of mind. Now, there is an item that I've heard a great deal about, and it's called a Ring doorbell camera. And there are a lot of folks that have these. Now, a personal situation, I was going to visit my parents up in the mountains, and I knew a friend of mine lived along the way. And so and this was a vacation home for them. They weren't there. So I was going to stop and leave my business card so that they knew I had stopped by to say hello, even though I knew they weren't there. So I stopped my car. I walked to their front porch. I left my business card. The house is alongside of this creek. So I stopped to look around the creek and just enjoy the environment. And then I walked back to my car. And it was no more than 5 minutes. I had a text message on my phone with a screenshot of my face on their front porch, standing there putting a business card in the door. And these people live in South Carolina. That was a little weird and a little crazy moment for me. But I would submit to you that these security cameras are everywhere and you're being videoed. So keep that in mind. So with security cameras and nanny cams, keep in mind that there are laws in each state, and each state has different laws. It is legal to record video-only footage in your home from a hidden camera as long as it's not set up in a private space. And what they consider a private space would be like a bathroom. However, recording audio, it's probably a good idea to get consent, because what can happen is that without consent, you could be sued for these recordings, as well as your footage would not be even admissible in court. And there are some states that do not even permit these cameras in an assisted living facility, which is interesting. So here's a website that I found, safewise.com, for more information on the best nanny cams and what the goal here would be to find what works best for your situation. So Alexa, play Elvis Presley songs. Again, this is all I have figured out how to get my Alexa to do. I received one as a Christmas present, but these little digital devices can do a ton more things. I have not figured out how to get mine to turn off the lights, but this is a possibility. On this diagram right here, this is a smart home. And what it is showing you is that there are digital applications that can assist you in raising and lowering your window shades. This temperature guy right here, we have a neighbor that we were dog sitting for, and we went to over there to check things out, and it was in the summertime, and it felt really warm in their house. And I was afraid their air conditioning had broke, so I sent them a message asking them about their air conditioning. And they texted me back that they have their heating and air conditioning set to a digital control that is controlled by an app on their phone, that when they were 30 minutes away from arriving back home from their vacation, they were going to readjust their air conditioning so that it was cool, the house was cool before they got home. It's crazy to me, but a possibility. You can set your locks on your doors so that they can be locked or unlocked by your phone or through a pad on the door, no longer needing a key. Your washer and dryer, your electronics, of course, your security cameras, your lights. Our 13-year-old refrigerator died during the pandemic, which was interesting. So we had to get a new refrigerator, and there are refrigerators out there that essentially have a computer pad, like an iPad, on the door of the refrigerator that you can search the internet and make yourself a sandwich at the same time. We did not get that refrigerator. I'm a little old school, felt like it was unnecessary, but that's the world we live in, and that feature was available.
Hey, Shannon.
Yes, sir.
We have a question from Courtney. Can you post a sign that you are being recorded for the consent?
Can you post a sign? That's a good question, and let me jot it down. I am not a lawyer, but could connect you up with the information, okay? Or do you mind making a note of that, Adam?
Yep, it'll be in the chat box.
Okay, thank you. Good question, though. The laws on that are tricky, and we have to be sure to protect ourselves. So this item right here, this is called a June oven that I discovered in this research. And this oven is voice controlled, and it was created for visually impaired users to be able to cook by themselves. And so a caregiver can check in on the June oven to make sure it wasn't left on when it was not supposed to be. And they can also turn it off remotely. This slide right here shows that there are gas and electric stoves that have turn-off products. Some of them come with a timer, motion sensor, and automatic stove shut-off. The goal here being so that these devices are not left on so that something burns or something becomes dangerous, and a caregiver or family member has more control over those items. There are sensors placed there, and then the on-off switch can be in the back of them. There are even automatic fire extinguishers. Those devices, they can be installed under the range hood, and they're heat triggered so that they automatically dispense if there is a problem. And that powder is most likely going to be baking soda because it's being sprayed on top of a stove. And I found one of these items on Amazon, and was called Auto Out. And here's a few websites for the stove turn-off products that I captured. And if something is interesting to someone, we can follow up that in detail. So this technology, this entire video is about 3 minutes long, but I think it's pretty interesting, and I'm going to let it run unless y'all tell me otherwise. But it's impulse radio radar technology, so that they set up the parameters in a home or in an assisted living facility, so that if somebody falls, if somebody's in the bathroom and they fall, it monitors the reaction of the fall, and it sends an alert to the front desk or whomever is in charge of that evening there. And then if that becomes an emergency alert, I'm stuttering through my explanation here. It's a really good visual explanation. Let me start it so that y'all can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so the person just fell. It's a green light mode. Now it's turned to blue, and a possible fall was detected. So it's verifying there was a fall. The alert was sent. But through the technology, it's able to see that the person is moving. A sit-up was detected. Everything is okay. Not necessarily an emergency response. So everything is in green light mode in this situation, on standby. Person's not feeling well, they're taking care of their business.
So much for the
A
camera and
grad
the privacy.
bar. Everything's okay. Sit-up was detected. Back to their business. This one is going to be a demo of a sliding fall. This is the one where the person's not feeling well, something's not right. They grab the grab bar. They still go down. Possible fall was detected. They're verifying the fall. Fall was confirmed. An alert was sent. Wait a minute, they're okay. Person gets up. So now this is another sliding fall. Things are not going well. Possible fall is detected. They're verifying the fall. Alert was sent. A severe fall was detected when the person does not sit up or attempt to sit up for longer than 12 seconds. It's also breathing rate monitoring post-fall. Potential severe fall detected shows up on the other end of the equipment. They know where it is. They know the respiratory rate. They can try to speak with the patient, or someone can come and check on the patient, depending on the situation. Pretty interesting stuff.
Shannon, this is Allison. I have a question.
Okay.
So that technology that we just saw, it is not videotaping the person while they're in the bathroom, which would violate their privacy. It is detecting the movements of their body and the stillness to create those alerts. Is that correct?
Correct. They set up the parameters of what that environment should feel like. sorry, I lost my transitions here. And everything is based on sensitivity, and whatever they've set those parameters up to be. And some of it you'll see in like blood pressure readings that can happen from your watch. And it's all in the sensitivity of it. And again, for more details, I can gladly follow up with that. So I'm going to move to tracking devices at this point. And this next one that's come up, and this is something that we use in our family regularly. And it was designed to keep up with, I think a lot of people use this to keep up with their children, see what they're doing, making sure they're staying out of trouble. But we use it for peace of mind. I use it with my children. I use it with family and friends, and even with my parents who are 76 and 80. And there's a video here that will show you how this app works. But to explain a little bit better how we use it, my 21-year-old daughter is traveling today, and so I'm able to see that she's on schedule. I know her last point of contact. I'm not trying to be in her business. I just want to know that she's safe. My parents. So my parents, they use it back during the hurricane when my brother was trying to travel back and forth to escape that, what was supposed to be a Category 5 hurricane. And there was 8, 10, 12-hour trips back and forth to the coast. We were all able to use this tracking to monitor and make sure everybody was safe. My mom is able to use it so she's not calling somebody every 10 minutes to make sure that they're okay. We've showed her how she can use this app and she can see where everybody is. So with that introduction, this video clip here shows you a little bit about how this app, Life 360, works.
There are hundreds of Android apps which can be used to track a user's location. But what if you want a tracking solution for your entire family? I'm Nick Ray from Fandroid, and in this video, I'm going to show you how you and your family can keep track of each other's whereabouts with Life 360. Life 360 was developed with the whole family in mind. It will keep track of your kids and show you their location history, but your kids will also be able to see where you are and where you've been. To get started, download and install the app on all of your family's smartphones. Set up profiles with everyone's phone numbers, passwords, and names. Adding a profile picture is helpful, but is not required. On your main device, tap Create New Map. This will show you a map of the world. Tap Find Me, and Life 360 will pinpoint your location. Once it has, tap Yes, and the app will give you an invite code. On all the other secondary devices, enter the invite code so that you all share the same map. On your main device, you'll then be asked if you want to receive a notification if someone from your family arrives home. If you do, tap Yes, and you'll be shown a map. Enter the name of your home and then use the search function or simply drag the map around to find your house, and then tap Save. Once you have all of your family's devices set up, Life 360 will track everyone's location and show them on the map. You even get an indication of their device's battery level, which can be helpful. If you want to see where someone has been, tap their name at the bottom of the screen, and you'll be shown their movement history. The free version of Life 360 only shows the past 48 hours, but the $5 monthly subscription keeps track of everyone's movements for 30 days. Our favorite feature within the app is Places. This allows you to set up geofences around the places you and your family visit the most, and allows you to receive notifications anytime someone from your family comes or goes. To add a new place, tap Menu and then Places. If you set your home up as a place already, you'll see it here. To add a new one, tap Add Place. Give it a name, search for the address, or drag around the map, and then use the sliding bar to adjust the geofence size. When you're happy, hit the Save button at the bottom. Then you'll be able to choose to receive notification when members of your family arrive or leave that specific place. We also like that you can set up multiple groups within Life 360. Your kids can create their own maps to keep track of their friends, or you can set one up for your aging parents or extended family. Life 360 can also be used for emergencies. Add up to 3 different contacts under Help Alerts, And the app will contact them all with a phone call, SMS, or email message containing your phone's last known location with a single button press. There's also a basic messaging service and a list feature for shopping lists or to-dos, but we recommend finding dedicated apps for both of those functions. If you've already used Life360 or a similar service, let us know in the comments what your experience has been. Thanks for watching.
So I love that app. It also helps me, like my parents are still getting around okay, but they do live up in the mountains. And in the wintertime, I worry about them driving. And I would at least know where to start looking if something happens. So here are some other location devices to track loved ones who wander. And each one of them has a kind of a different scenario. So again, you can figure out what works best for your situation. And I found this information on alzheimers.net. But there's Angel Sense, and this device attaches to clothing. There is an item, the next one, that actually is Smart Sole that goes into someone's shoe. There are devices that can be attached to in a way so that someone does not, in case someone would take it off, you can attach the device so that they would not be able to take it off. There's the Medical Alert Safely Home, and this was actually created to help emergency responders to treat patients who could not speak for themselves, but now they're able to use this device in situations for wanderers. Pocket Finder, I believe that was the one that's tiny that would fit in your pocket, a very small GPS tracking device. Mind Me. Some of these tracking devices are just for tracking. Some of these devices also you could have two-way communication on there. This Project Lifesaver, that's when a senior is enrolled in their program and they're given a transmitter that they wear on their ankle. And if for some reason they wander, the caregiver calls the Project Lifesaver agency, and a trained team will respond, and the recovery time is typically 30 minutes. There are other apps that are interesting and have tons of potential. There's this Fade. It is a fall detector. There is IBP, which is a blood pressure monitor. Pillboxy is an app designed for medication reminders. It also doubles as your list of medications and dosages. Now, I would tell you what my mom does is she actually sets reminders on her phone so that each day that reminder comes up and she knows what she's supposed to take at that time of day, and that's how she uses the reminders. There's other various ones. This Pillboxy was one. VizWiz, this was interesting to me. This was created for blind users so that they can set up with this app, and if they are out somewhere and they're not certain where they are, they can take a picture or ask a question, and there's a group as part of this recognition software that they would be able to help identify where that person is to make sure everything is on track. Motion Doctor, this is an app for somebody that has been prescribed physical therapy for an issue, and it can not only help you find a physical therapist, but you can also use it to watch educational videos to help you in your recovery. Medical ID, and at the end of this, I'd like to show you how I use this on my iPhone. But this, if your device is password protected and you are not able to speak and the EMS is there trying to take care of you, through this medical ID, they can still have access to your medical information. So if you're allergic to something or if you have a pre-existing condition, they would immediately know that and can begin treatment based on more information. iReader is an app that turns your phone into a magnifying glass if you're visually challenged. Uber or Lyft are ride-sharing programs, kind of like a taxi, But you use it through an app. I have not used Uber or Lyft. My husband is, which surprises me because he is not the most tech savvy person, but he's figured out how to use Uber and Lyft. Remember, he's the one that still likes his cable television. And you can even use one of these apps to have food delivered to your door. And all of that sort of thing is really kind of exploding nowadays with people staying at home. So a few websites that came up in my research here that were interesting. Xanthian.com, Mary Care, LifePod, and this Zesta down at the bottom I was really intrigued by. These are technologies that help you connect with purpose and reducing social isolation. So that jumps to Home Instead. So what is Home Instead doing to adapt to this new digital and electronic world? Putting that frontline care technology care into our care model. And we describe it as integrated care. We have a family room where a family member can see actively, not through a nanny cam, but through communication with their caregiver. Let's say that the son is in Raleigh. He is sitting on a Zoom meeting for the Caregiver Academy that he puts on there, but mom's shift just ended and she wasn't feeling good yesterday, so he wanted to know if everything was okay. He can sign in and he can see how that shift went, so he can continue on with his work in Raleigh and know that mom's okay and he doesn't have any special needs at this moment. A calendar, invoice history, to-do lists, and contacting people for those that are active in the family room. It alleviates some of those caregiving stresses by giving you that real-time transparency to the care process as families live in different areas or working, etc. So the future of that will be a device called a GrandPad, which folks may have seen this, but what we will be doing is combined a caregiver for that physical and personal touch alongside of a GrandPad, and that will lead to future care, which allows that hardware and software communication, evidence-based care, as it also creates new ways for a caregiver to engage with their clients in this digital world.